Hello and welcome back to another episode here on the CTC channel. It stands for Create, Transform, and Connect. My name is Krendl. I'm excited you're here for this episode, primarily because my frustrations have now boiled into an episode. This is my therapy session with you. The topic is all about fear of judgment from others and how fear of this thinking and our mindset of being worried about what other people think holds us back from our potential and who we are. So how many of you honestly feel the fear of other people's judgments and thoughts? It is something that as humans and through our society, we kind of have to fight and push away from, because ultimately fear ends up paralyzing us from doing and living up to what we are. No matter how successful or how much of a failure you think you are, we all feel this judgment inside. It is ingrained in us through our childhood all the way up through our adulthood. And we take this same thinking and we push it on others. We're just as guilty of judging others as we are living in fear of it. That's why we live in fear, because we know we do it to others. Fear, in this context of what we're discussing, is a developed and learned habit. That means you can change it, you can work against it, and more importantly, understanding that it will always exist, but if you strengthen that muscle of working against fear, you will always be able to move forward and grow as a person. We all want to be loved, we all want to be respected, we all want to be seen as successful. But it's perception. Do you see yourself as that person? If you don't, that's where it starts. I feel like sharing my story is a way to start, because one of the things I promised myself in creating this channel is I would do stuff that was honest and sincere to who I am. Because without it, what's the point? I want to be able to challenge myself, become a better person, while at the same time inspire others to do the same. That is the purpose of this channel. And so, what a better way to start than by explaining a little bit about my background. I had a video on myself doing a magic stunt called the Houdini water torture cell. Well, come to find out, what I was doing was rare in the style that I was doing it, and someone figured that out and found me. I ended up signing with the world's largest, most successful magic production company, the Illusionist, live from Broadway. So I want to share my experience of how I ended up on all these world stages, performing at the Sydney Opera House, the Kennedy Center. I ended up one of the largest stages in Moscow. The list goes on of all these massive stages where we would have anywhere from 1,000 to 8,000 people per show watching us. It was like a rock experience, because how many magicians do you know get to perform in front of 8,000 people? So it was a very gratifying and amazing experience. But there was two things that I was fighting with constantly on tour. One was feeling like I deserved and belonged to be there. I was working with people who I grew up with on TV that inspired me to be a magician. They were creative people who had their own products and routines that they sell to people like me so that we can go do those routines. These were powerful people for me. And here I am being thrown into it. I was, in essence, considered as an equal to them. I was on the stage, I took the bows with them, they introduced me to come on stage and perform. That scared me so bad, because I didn't feel like I deserved to be there. I was worried about what they would think, because I wanted them to like me. These are people who I worshiped, and now I want them to respect me and think that I'm good. So that was a major issue. It was about proving myself. I'm good enough to be here. Then the second issue was dealing with the audiences sometimes and the stunts that I was doing. You see, I ended up becoming, and through my history and research, I found I'm one of only 2 people in the entire world that have done what I have done. The Houdini water torture cell is an infamous stunt in magic. And a lot of people have done it over the generations. But there are only 2 that have done it in the fashion that I can do it, which is being hung upside down handcuffed and shackled, locked into a tank of water with no curtains. There's no hiding. And hold your breath for at least 3 minutes at a time every show, picking the locks and escaping every time. And every time I got out of that tank, and every time I would go for an autograph session or an interview or talk to people after the show, I'd always hear trash. I would always hear, oh, that was fake. That wasn't real. That wasn't real water. And just the list goes on. And it hurt me because I worked my entire life to get to this point, to have people I don't know tell me it's not real. Why are you criticizing me? Why are you making me feel bad for something I've devoted so much time and effort to share with you? It really, really messed with my psyche. And I had to deal with bouts of depression through that, because what made all of that worse is that I physically went through pain every single time I was in that tank. Every time I go in, it still happens. Your temperature rises, your organs begin to get tighter, and you just feel like your lungs are on fire. I went through that torture night in and night out, sometimes as many as 4 times in a day. And then to have people tell me it's not real, that hurts. I got over it. I moved on. I'm asking you to do the same with your problems. We have to support and help each other. We're not individuals in the context of our emotions. We all feel the same things. I'm standing in front of you to tell you that I'm scared. And I live in fear on a constant basis that I have to deal with and wrestle with just like anyone else. But I'm here, and I'm trying. One of my biggest fears is not living up to my potential. That I've just sat and wasted it all. The money don't mean a thing if you don't feel happy about it, if you don't feel fulfilled in some way. Service is that connection. If you're not providing some type of service in your life, you're missing out. I'm not good at video editing. I don't know anything about it. I had to learn it just to create these episodes because I don't have any money to pay anyone to do it, right? So I got to do it on my own. I got to learn. I've never set up a YouTube channel. There are thousands and thousands of people who start YouTube channels and then they just die out within a month or 2. I'm scared that I'll never be able to provide enough content to keep this going long enough. I'm scared of my peers, other artists looking at me and judging me, thinking, oh God, it's so lame. Or he's just copying other people's stuff. How boring. You got to fight through it. Dealing with self-negative talk is like at the core of everything that we do. We all experience these fears of being judged. And yet, we act like in the moment we're the only one. Isn't that weird? Okay, so let's get to an action step. Every episode that we do, we always offer or provide you with one thing to do. Just something small to kind of help push this along, right? Because if you're not doing it, then you're not growing. You're not getting anything truly out of these episodes. So do me a favor, take the time in the comments below and just share with us a genuine, honest fear that you have. Now, you can do one of 2 things with that. You can just share that and let it be, or you can also share with us your fear, maybe how you cope or deal with it. The intent of this is for inspiring and helping each other. When I see the comments, I'll offer what I can. Others can do the same because that's what we're here to do. Help each other along the way. We all have fears. When we shed light on the dark spots, they disappear. So take the time, write in the comments below and share with us one of your fears. Now I'd like to close with a quote. It's a famous quote, and this really does get to the core of critics and living in fear of others. I hope you enjoy it. So the quote is by Theodore Roosevelt. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who actually is in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. That's powerful stuff, and I hope it connects. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Do me a favor, please take this video and just share it with one person in hopes that this helps and inspires others. Take care.